Hey Jules crew! Today we're gonna jump Comet around a small 18-inch course, and then I'll also show you a little free jumping I did with Buck the other day. And then I'll probably also hop on Buck and film another video of how we're progressing with Buck. So you might see me in the same outfit for 3 videos in a row, but I assure you that they were all filmed at the same time. So let's get to it. I'll just show you my tack setup I have for jumping. I don't typically ride my horses in boots on the flat because it's bad for their ligaments and tendons to get overheated, and they're really not that necessary on the flat. But here are my jumping boots. So I got these at Rolex a number of years ago, and I was told that they were made in the same factory as the Magic E-Keep boots, and they're essentially the exact same thing as the Magic E-Keep boots. They're a little tad big for Comet. They used to fit on my big thoroughbred. And then I also just have the fetlock boots in the back. They were probably about half the price of the Magic E-Keep boots, and they have really great ventilation, which I like. I have an all-purpose saddle. It's a Corbett Bernina. I sold my jumping saddle when I could no longer jump Moonspinner anymore because of his eye condition. And I wasn't doing any significant jumping with Comet, so I got a more comfortable saddle. This is a great all-purpose saddle. It's very comfy. So I have this pad. Is probably older than a lot of you guys. It's a classic 3 pad. I've had it for like 12 years now. I used to work at a tack store and I got great discounts, and it was before the classic 3s were like 80 bucks. I think I got this pad for like 30 bucks and it's lasted for like 12 years. So if you're gonna get a classic pad, they are worth the money over time. And I always ride in safety stirrups. I know these aren't the fancy schmancy $150 safety stirrups that have the joint that pop out that look like regular stirrups, but they're the $20 peacock stirrups that I can actually afford. I would rather not have a fancy looking stirrup that is actually a safety stirrup than not having a safety stirrup. And then I do ride in a bit. This is a copper lined full cheek. I like the full cheeks when I jump because I think it does help give you a little bit extra steering capacity. It's a French link on the inside, so a double jointed bit. And I have no idea what brand that bridle is. I got it years and years ago on eBay. So that's my setup. Comet is also sporting a thin line half pad. So there's a thin line half pad, and then he needs a riser pad with all of his saddles because he has kind of a bit of a sway back, so all of his saddles kind of fit like that. So he has to have a riser pad to make them more level. And I had to add some extra foaming, so it's a little makeshifty, but it works really well. Another low-cost safety stirrup that you can get, or I forget what they're called, I'll put it down below. But these are a little more classy looking safety stirrup, and they're like 30 bucks as well. I want to get another extra pair and toss the peacock stirrups. But like I said, no shame in the peacock stirrups. So I was just going to show you guys, this is the soft touch girth, and I wanted to show you the inside of it. It's kind of this neoprene, really soft material. So I think it's got elastic on both ends. So that is our setup. You'll also probably notice that I'm not riding in a breastplate or any type of martingale. Comet does not need either of those things, and I have my own personal opinions on martingales. I'm not a huge fan, but like I said, I've never had a horse where I felt like I've needed one, so my opinion might change in the near future. But I only wear breastplates on cross country or higher jumping courses. This course is max 18 inches because Comet's out of shape and I'm out of shape. And I'm trying to prepare him for a low-level combined training show that we're going to. So I'm going to get on and show you the course from horseback. And then, other exciting news, this solo shot came in. So here's my solo shot. Ted's very excited about it too. And I'll show you guys how that works probably in a later video. And in a later video, I'm also doing a tack haul with a big giveaway in it. So stay tuned. I got our trusty sidekick. I'm going to show you guys the course. So I always set up with some trot poles, and then I have a canter pole to warm up on, and then this is an 18-inch just vertical. I didn't bother putting a ground pole down because I ran out of poles, and it's just a small 18-inch. If I was doing bigger, I would definitely put some ground poles under the verticals. And then we have a X to warm up over, and another X over here to warm up over. And then on this side, I have a 3-strided line. I don't have any oxers. I only have 5 jump standards, so I need to make some more jump standards. But this is an 18-inch vertical. And then I love making this setup. It is a vertical within an X, and it makes it wider So no, I don't have any oxers, but I do have some jumps that are a smidge wider than typical. So as you can see, coming from the side, it has to fit a 3-pole length to make that work. So it is a bit wider. Getting you ready to start practicing some oxers. And then on this 18-inch vertical I have over here, I also have a ground pole that is a bit crooked, so I always use it as a ground pole. It just kind of warped over time, but it is a 4-stride length away from this jump so that you can practice cantering lines as well before you go to the actual line over there. So I got a jump on the diagonal, a jump on the short side, I got a line on the long side, and then this vertical on this long side with some trot poles in the center to practice. And then I have my support crew on either side. Buck over there is having a hissy fit because he's getting eaten up by some flies, I think. I'm not sure why he's having a hissy fit. He's just being very silly, maybe because I won't let him in the arena. Sorry, Bucky, I don't want you in the way. So I'll just show you guys a little bit of how I like to warm up before I jump. I always like to do trot poles and canter poles and make sure I can extend and collect my canter out and make sure that he will wait for my say-so going over the canter poles. So he'll wait for me to tell him when the right distance is, such as now. So that was pretty good. Comet's very out of shape and he tends to kind of leap forward instead of rock back on his haunches to jump forward. And that's a bit of my own fault in training or lack thereof. I've just kept Comet as kind of a lesson horse and a horse for my boyfriend Blake, and I've never done any really serious competition or really serious training with him other than the basics. But he's a pretty good little dude and he'll just plod along as you please and take care of you. So here I'm just going over this canter pole and doing simple changes and making sure he'll take the canter stride as soon as I ask and wait for me to tell him to go over this canter pole, and then we'll do some more trot poles going both ways. I also did walk, trot, canter both ways and doing like circles and changing direction, but I didn't show all that because it was kind of boring. So here we're just gonna pop over the little X's a couple of times and get them warmed up over the jumps before we do any of the verticals or really start any of the course. So what my plan is I haven't really jumped Comet in a major course in quite some time. So I'm just kind of breaking apart the course piece by piece. So did the diagonal, came around, did a canter circle around that other X and then popped over it, and he took both of those fairly well. Gonna come over the little ground pole going this way. I know that my lower leg is moving a lot more than I would like it to, something that I definitely need to work on. But as you can see with my seat, I'm just kind of trying to go with the motion and also keep my elbows loose and fluid and not pop them in the mouth whenever I go over the jumps. So we did a flying change there that you couldn't quite see. So right to left. Left lead is his problem lead. He's less balanced than the left lead, and sometimes he likes to change left to right going through straightaway jumps. And that was not my most proud moment in the world. I just did not ride that very well. I did not sit back and push him up to the jump. So here we did it again, and that was a little bit better. So I'm just picking apart this course piece by piece. Went over the ground pole before I went over that vertical to kind of practice going over a line before I come over and do this line. So this line is a 3-stride, and I believe he takes it in 4. 1, 2, no, he does 3. He likes to veer left as soon as we land. Every time we did that line, he would veer left as soon as we landed. So I kept that in mind when I did that line in the future to try to hold my left rein, or what would be my inside rein at that time, steady and not let him push through it, and then put my left leg on and keep him going through. So we took that vertical a lot better, coming vertical to ground pole than the opposite, the other way, the not so pretty ground pole to vertical. So I was pretty happy with that. And here we're just adding on to the course. So coming from right lead to left lead, and it looks as though he did pick up his left lead. So when I ask for that left lead coming over a jump, I kind of put my right leg behind my right leg behind me, and and again, see, he liked to veer left, and I try to keep him from doing that. But anyway, when I'm asking for a lead change going over a jump, I like to put what would be the outside leg behind the girth a little bit and kind of ask as I'm coming over the jump. So when I give leg on to ask him to go over the jump, I do it like you would normally ask for a canter. So inside leg at the girth, outside leg kind of behind the girth, and kind of shift my weight to the new outside. So I just came around and did this line again, and I was much happier with this last time I did that line. He did not veer quite as much to the left and did a bit of a smoother 3-stride to the second jump. His strides are still very choppy and very short, so we are working on groundwork or flat work where I'm asking him to bring his hind end up underneath him and round his top line and stretch his strides out. And then we did a little bit of free jump with Buck, so I wanted to show you guys that. We did do up to 2 feet free jumping with Buck, and he did fairly well. So as you can see, he's starting to learn to pick his feet up and stretch his stride out, and I thought it was super exciting as well. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and stay tuned for more.